Hello everyone, welcome to the Ichimoku daily analysis for the SP 500 for Tuesday, March the 9th, 2010. Well, a spinning top type candle today again. The previous day we had a doji type candle which warned of indecision. Again, this type of candle that we have with a relatively small body and a relatively large shadow on either end also denotes indecision in this market. The candle has a rather small body compared to some of the previous candles here, and that's telling us that the buyers have made a relatively small amount of net progress on the day between the open and the close. The amount of progress that they have made actually warns that the trend to the upside is not healthy, even though the color of the candle is green, denoting that the buyers made that better net progress. It is, however, warning that the trend still remains unhealthy. In bar chart terms, this is an outside day, and that's where we have a bar with a higher high but a lower low, and that raises doubt about the viability of the trend to the upside. The market remains in a trend to the upside. The previous day we had a candle with a higher high and a higher low, so the trend is up. An outside day fails to change the trend because we don't have a trend in the opposite direction, and we believe as technical analysts that we need evidence for there to be a change of trend, and a change of trend in this case would be a bar with a lower high and a lower low, or a candle with a lower high and a lower low. In this case, we have an outside day, and outside days by themselves denote indecision in the market and a greater amount of volatility, and that's what you tend to see as markets make highs. So there is potential for a reversal here. Having said that, though, we would need confirmation of a reversal. So confirmation would be a bar or a candle with a lower high and a lower low in reference to today's candle. Now, just looking at how this market is traded, it's traded up towards this resistance area at around 1150, and we can see from the price action around here, when the market was congesting and trading in the range between 1150 and 1133, that there was strong resistance at 1150. So obviously the market trading up to around 1145 or so found an effect from that zone of resistance, and there was downside price rejection. By the same token, though, there was upside price rejection as the market traded down to around the 1133 region, which was a previous area of strong support. And we can see from the long shadows on these candles that the buyers came in as the market traded up to there. That was subsequently broken with a very, very bearish day, which traded all the way down to around the 1040 level. So that area becomes very important for this market. That's the 1133 region. Now, the market continues to trade up above the cloud or the Kumo, so the market does have an overall positive bias, and the market has previously traded outside of, broke outside of the cloud, the top of the cloud, where before it was trading within the cloud. So we do have a relatively strong market in terms of overall picture. Having said that, the market is also trading up above the Kijun-sen and Tenkan-sen, which reflects the trend in the fast time frame and medium-term time frame, and tells us that the market is bullish in those time frames as well. So we do have a fairly bullish market in terms of the Ichimoku indicators. We also have the Tenkan-sen above the Kijun-sen, which is gives us a bullish interpretation of this market. There was a crossover some time ago, a week or so ago, or a few weeks ago, but that crossover was below the cloud, which meant that it was a relatively weak signal. But the market has continued up on its way, regardless of that being a weak signal, and the market also broke out as we mentioned before. Looking at the angle of these two lines, the Tenkan-sen and Kijun-sen, they are pointing up relatively sharply, which reflects the fairly strong upside momentum that the market has at the moment. We can see in this first time frame upswing that the market's been in for a few weeks that the vast majority of those candles have been green. And that's what you like to see when a market is trending up. And we can see in the previous upswing the vast majority of those candles were green. There were a few small-bodied candles which did raise some concern, but at no stage through here did we have a change of trend. So that's rather interesting for this market, and it just reflects how important it is that we do need that evidence for a change of trend of a lower high and a lower low. So that becomes very important here. Now, if the market does trade off below the 1133 region, then there is potential for support at the Tenkan-sen, which is at 1115. And if that fails, we have potential support at the Cloud, which is at 1110, and then certainly at the 1106 region, which was a fairly strong area of previous resistance and support. If that doesn't hold, then we have potential support down around the 1094 region at the Kijun-sen, and if that fails, then at 1080. So we have very strong support to the downside. Although if we do trade down below the 1133 region, there may not be any solid support until the market potentially trades down to around the 1120 region, around 1125 down to 1120. That was a previous area of downside price rejection, and that has the potential to hold as support as well. So the market may trade off fairly significantly if it does, if we do see a solid bearish close down below 1133. To the upside, obviously the 1150 region is a strong area of resistance for this market, and also just panning out, the 1163 was a previous region that we identified. So considering that we're trading up above the Cloud or the Kumo, and trading above the Kijun-sen and Tenkan-sen, the market is in a bullish mode, but because of the indecisive type candles and the resistance that we have close by around 1150, there is potential for a short-term reversal for the market to retrace part of this second time frame uptrend that the market's in. And then what we need to do is look at how the market, if that does happen, look at how the market interacts around any of these support levels for a potential another buying opportunity.